Howdy y'all, welcome back to NRW. I'm your host here today, Rob the Movie Guy, and today I'm reviewing the latest Scott Adkins film, In Max Cloud. This was a movie I was really excited for when I first saw the trailer, and I was able to watch it opening night on December 18th. But is the movie any good? I will let you know, but first, let's roll that trailer.
Captain Max Cloud, do you read? Over. Okay then. Who wants the first dance? Max Cloud is here. Playing those damn games.
Oh, get it back when you learn to have a little respect.
No, don't! So unfair. I wish I could just play video games all day, every day.
Okay, Sarah. Keep it together. Is this real? Can I touch you?
Pull yourself together, soldier. We don't have time for this.
What? Fear is not near. Cowboy is here.
Cowboy?
Oh, smokes!
I'm pretty sure I'm in the game.
I'm kind of freaking out right now. Sarah, look out.
Good work, soldier. That's true violence.
Our time has come.
Sarah, can you hear me? Stop shouting!
Literally no one was shouting.
It will be our
If your friend can complete the game, you might actually have a chance of getting out of here.
The fate of the universe lies in the hands of Max Cloud. Did I save the universe again?
You were fantastic.
Now, full disclaimer, I'm going to be getting to some spoilers here because in order for me to let you know how I feel about the film, there are going to be some details I'm going to be covering that will be in that spoiler territory. So if you've never seen the movie and do not want to get spoiled, I recommend you pause the video right now. You can rent it and buy it on Amazon Prime, on Vudu, but I urge you, please spend money to watch this movie, check it out, and then come on back to this review. Now, as you can see from the trailer, this movie does have a lot of similar beats we've seen before in the Jumanji series and even to some extent Tron. And also, as you can see from the trailer, this young girl by the name of Sarah is playing this game that is called The Intergalactic Adventures of Max Cloud. And obviously, she's very obsessed with this game. Her father's very disappointed with her and playing this game all day, so he tells her, please stop playing the game. She doesn't listen to him. He ends up taking the remote control away from her, and therefore she can no longer play the game. And then she makes this wish that she could play this game all day, every day, and someone in that game hears her make that wish and decided to make it come to fruition. So now she's in the game, so she's got to play the game, defeat the game, in order for her to get back home in the real world. But the caveat is that she only has one life to do this here with. And of course, as you can see from the trailer, her friend Cowboy helps her along the way, who is played by Franz Drame, who I didn't recognize in the trailer, having seen it a number of times. And I was surprised because he has this kid in play hairstyle, the big glasses, the facial hair, and the way he's dressed. And for any of you guys who may not recognize him or not know who he was in the TV show, or is in the TV show rather, in Legends of Tomorrow. I think he plays Firestorm, and he was also in that wonderful movie, the sci-fi film in Attack the Block. But anyway, so he helps her with that journey. And then as far as the plot of the game is concerned, it's rather simple. The spaceship that Max Cloud is in charge of crash lands into this intergalactic planet that serves as a prison. And there's a character by the name of Revenger whose motivation I understood. I actually I felt for this character because of the backstory that's involved with this character. And I have a lot to say about the portrayal of this character, which I'll get into in my negatives, but they have to survive this ordeal, get the ship up and running again, and then fly back home safe. That is the film in a nutshell. But is the movie any good? Yeah, I actually liked the movie. I had a lot of fun with the movie, but I did not love the film, though. And I'll definitely get into that with my negatives. But I will say this right off the bat. Scott Adkins. This guy seems to surprise me almost every other film. Or, you know, it takes a couple films in between, then something else pops up, and like, holy shit, this guy is fucking amazing. The first film that really made me, like, understand how good of an actor he really was in Undisputed 3. Then after that, it was in a movie called Savage Dog, and then Avengement. And now, surprisingly, this movie. So in my opinion, this is one of his most surprising films, also his most surprising performance. But this movie was, his performance in this movie I thought was fantastic, because I will say that this movie is not an action film. I know this movie, the trailer at least gives you this, this is like a action comedy. It's definitely a comedy film, that is for sure. But I wouldn't go as far as saying this is an action film, because there's very little fighting in this movie. And in fact, the fighting that does occur barely lasts a minute, to be frank with you. And doesn't happen that often. So if you're expecting an action film, don't expect that out of this movie, because really this is just a flat out, in my opinion, comedy movie. And I think Scott Adkins does a great job in this part. He definitely took a lot of inspiration, as he mentioned before in previous interviews, from Ron Burgundy. But he definitely does his own thing with this character, Max Cloud, because this character, Max Cloud, is kind of a dick. And I thought he was really good in the comedy timing. I thought he was fantastic with the interaction with some of the other characters in the film. And a lot of the other actors here, too, whose names I had to write down because I couldn't remember their names off the top of my head. Elliot James Langridge, who plays the character of Jake, who is the second lead in the game, who now Sarah has to embody in the game, I thought he was fantastic. Because in the beginning of the movie, this is the first character that you see. And in the beginning of the film, he is portraying the character of Jake in the game. But then when Sarah comes in to embody this character, his demeanor changes, the way he speaks changes, his movement changes, so he's more girlish. And I thought he did a great job, and his interactions with Max Cloud along the way, I thought worked fantastically in my opinion. And we also have the actress Sally Collette, who plays Rexy, who is another crew member in this ship, and she's also one of the co-writers in the film as well too. And we also have Tommy Flanagan, who I thought looked badass in the movie, and he was actually pretty good in the film. Unfortunately, I felt like his character wasn't really fleshed out all that well and didn't really live up to his full potential. But I'll get into that again with my negatives. Some of the other positives I will get into here is the fact that the scoring in this movie, I loved it. If there's anything about the film that I could say I really loved, it's the score. I love the score in this movie, because this movie takes place in Brooklyn, New York, 1990. So as you can see from the video game that they're playing, they have the synthesizer tone to it, and it does work effectively for this film. And I adore the soundtrack. If I can buy it, I would definitely buy it in a heart, because I love the score in this movie. And then of course the color palettes, the choices of color rather that they pick out for this movie. I got a lot of like cotton candy vibes from this movie because of the color pink and purple and so on. And I even asked my wife too when I was watching the film. We were sitting at the breakfast table and she was sitting right across from me, and I asked her, can you look at the screen and let me know what you think when you watch this movie, because I'm getting cotton candy vibes. You kind of get the same vibe too? And she's like, yeah, actually I do. I can see that. And I was like, okay, so I'm not the only one. So I'm curious to see if anyone else kind of got the same vibes from that as well too. And also the movie, although it's a very low budget film, because every Scott Adkins film that he stars in is always going to be low budget. But I think they did a great job in establishing the scale of this planet, the full scope of it, because even the set pieces, although you kind of get a feel for how big this, and to some extent how big the ship is, I think they did a really good job considering how small the budget this movie really is. But I think everyone did a good job who helped make this movie feel as epic as it can, because considering the amount of money they had, they did a fantastic job. The special effects, in my opinion, I thought were really good. I really enjoyed the film in a lot of ways because of what they were able to pull off with the limited amount of time I'm sure they had and the amount of money they had. They did a great job, in my opinion. And I'm trying to think some other positives I can get into as well too. But I'm sure if I do think of some, I'll probably get to it at the end of the video here. But let's get into some of the negatives. Okay, so I mentioned before, this story has a lot of similar beats we've seen before in the Jumanji films. And this is the problem that I had with the movie. One of the problems that I had with the film, which I will start off with this first. The movie's really short. It is 89 minutes long, and that's including credits. I felt like the story needed to be fleshed out a little bit better. So I really, you definitely needed more time to develop the characters a little bit better, develop the story a little bit better, because there's a lot of story beats that are established, certain scenarios that are set up, but don't really lead anywhere. And I'm hoping that maybe that this film does well enough for it to warrant a sequel, and hopefully bring up its budget a little bit more as a result of the success of this film, which I'm really, really hoping for, that you guys would spend money to watch this movie and then spread the word, because I really like the film, as I mentioned before, but I digress. I think that this movie had set up some things that just never really fleshed out all that well. A lot of it has to do with the amount of time this film has to develop all these character beats and story beats, and I think it was a detriment to the film because it needs the time to flesh those stories out to really get a full scale of what's going on and understanding, connecting with certain characters that probably could have been, told better in another format. But I just really didn't like that about the movie. And when I saw the timing, I saw 89 minutes, like, okay, well, maybe it's going to just be a fun, straightforward film, which it is. It does get straight to the point, which I appreciated. But it was certainly one of those situations where having more time with this movie would have helped out, in my opinion. One of the stories that one of the things I meant to say that I had a problem with this movie was the fact that in the Jumanji films, you don't really know what causes for the creatures in the Jumanji board game or in the video games that are able to come out into the real world, and how these real life individuals are able to get into the gaming world. They don't explain how that's done. It's just left on, you don't know. And it works well in favor of the movie. You just take it on face value because the story is done so effectively that you don't really come to question it. And there's really no need to get into that. But this movie sets that up. This movie sets up the fact that there is a space witch played by the actor Jason Maza, who is barely in the movie. In fact, I'm sure when you watch the trailer, there's a little pixelated character in the game that winks at Wendy. I'm sorry, Wendy. I meant to say Sarah. I don't know why I said Wendy. Winks at Sarah and then brings her into the game. And I'm sure our boy Koyap, he has a poster up here for you somewhere. And if you look very closely, you can actually see that space witch, but that character is barely in the game. In the movie, in the game as well too, I should say. And that's a shame because now you've already established how these characters are able to come from the real world and then brought into this gaming world. And it was left unanswered. I'm hoping a sequel will come out where we can see more of that, because now you've already established that and you've got to answer for that. So, guys, let's pay to watch this movie and let's see if we can get a sequel to have those questions answered here. Another problem I had with the film was the villain played by John Hannah, who played Revenger. The motivation for this character, he was a former NASA employee, or NASA astronaut rather, and he was a part of a space mission where they were supposed to go somewhere, I can't remember where. There was an exposition that was done beautifully through a form of a magazine, for a gaming magazine rather. Anyway, so he is leading this mission, but they crash land into this planet, which I mentioned before in the beginning of this review, that is a prison for some of the worst people in the galaxy. And this character by the name of She helps put them together, and he realizes that all the other crew members of his spacecraft have all died. But NASA, no one from Earth really made an attempt to even bother to go out looking for the guy. They just pretty much left him for dead, despite the fact they knew that the ship had crashed, and he felt betrayed and wants revenge. I get that. I understood that. Very simple, straight to the point. The problem I had was with the portrayal of this character, Revenger, because the actor John Hannah, although I thought he was fine, but I didn't find the reasoning behind his motivation for conquering Earth and the portrayal of the character just didn't sit well with me. I didn't really connect with that. I'm sure some other people may like it. I just personally did not like it. I didn't think it was fitting for the character, considering the gravity of his motivation. So I was hoping that maybe, it would change along the way, and that maybe I could learn to like the character as the story progressed. But I just never grew to get connected with the character, unfortunately. And even the character of She, that's really her name, Shee. And I forgot the name of the actress who plays her, but she was there and she was fine. And I guess she was a threat. I mean, she definitely was a threat, but I didn't really feel that impact. So unfortunately, there's a lot of beats of the story that, with the characters that they have, especially with the villains, they were really the weakest part of the film, in my opinion. And again, of course, I mentioned the timing, but that's really it for me right now. And I'm sure there's other stuff that I left out. But I hope that you guys take the time to go watch the film. And again, like I mentioned before, please spend money, check the film out, and I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have seen the film, let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Did you love the film? Did you hate it? upon watching this review, does this encourage you to go and check out the film? Let me know in the comment section down below. And while you're here, if you haven't done so already, make sure you hit that subscribe button and also hit that notification button as well too. And also make sure you share and like our videos as well. Also follow our social media accounts. We have a Facebook and Instagram page, simply at New Release Wednesdays, and on Twitter at the NRW. And you can follow myself on my social media accounts. I have an Instagram page, Rob_Medina0585, on Twitter, RobMedina0585, and on Facebook, simply just Rob the Movie Guy. And thank you very much, everybody, for checking the video out here today. I hope you guys had a great time. Hope you guys have a wonderful holiday season. Stay safe out there, and cheers.